What's up, everyone? I'm back. Gotta address this right here. This is not right, so stay tuned. I left this off in the last video. I said it at the end of the last video, and I also had a little Instagram post about this. As you can see down here, where these two are not really aligned. So I'm assuming that when I did the initial tightening, I had this one really low. As you can see, that one is like kind of up here. This wheel is hanging low. So what I'm going to do is just double check everything underneath the car. I'm probably going to loosen it up some more, and then I'm going to put this wheel back under some under the bricks or something like that. Let it rest on it. Then I'm going to tighten everything up, because I think, as you can see, there's no way this should be all the way down here. The car's jacked up, and this one is like up there nice and like snug. So I'm just gonna double check everything underneath, make sure everything's straight. And if time permits, because like this is like the middle of the week and I'm on a little quick break from my job, I might try to see if I can get the upper caliper off or mess around with this caliper that I took off and see if I get that piston out, because that piston looks like it's really seized. And if it's seized, I know people recommend getting another set of calipers, and I see some cheap ones online that's not too expensive, but I don't know if I want to get something that's not, you know, quote unquote genuine BMW. And then also someone told me I should do the E34 upgrade, which sounds great, and he said it's pretty much a plug and play, but then I gotta source those. So it's a lot of little things, but the main thing is getting this from looking like this to look like that. I think that's a proper real gap and everything looks good. So yeah, I want to check it out and see. You know, wheels look terrible. I gotta get those done, but you know how it is. So I'll check y'all. You guys can see, so I figured I'd bring you guys in for a closer look. I'm just looking at everything, making sure it's about the same. So yeah, this goes here. Hold on a second, I got a phone call. What's up, bro? Hold on one second. Sorry about that. But yeah, I had a office thing to deal with. But yeah, like I said, as you can see, this is all the way drooping down this side. So what I think what happened, because this side was the side that was giving me a lot of trouble, where I couldn't get the original arm out, the lower control arm, I couldn't get it out originally. So I had to take this whole assembly with this piece, the old one, to like Pet Boys, and the guy got it out for me. I had him off a little bit of money, and that was it. So when I put this back on, I just kind of left it like very loose. Whereas with this one, I think I had this whole assembly together, and I kind of tightened it when it kind of on. So my assumption is that this is a very low and is down. So what I'm going to do right now, I'm going to loosen this up some more with the air gun. And I really just think it's just this section, because this is the section that seems to be the loosest. And I feel like once I jack this up and I tighten it, this will kind of hold it in the place it needs to be, because I think everything else is kind of okay. But I'll address those as well. So what I want to do right now, I'm just going to loosen this up right now with the air gun. I'm going to jack up the car again, put the bricks underneath here. I might have to do both sides again. I guess it has to be even to get it done. I really just want to just do this one side, so I'll see how that goes, and just put it under its own weight. I might just do this one side, because I don't think I need to do both sides, because they're separate from each other except for the center link. So yeah, I'm going to just jack this up on this side, put the bricks on this side on it, let it sit down on the ground. I might just let it sit on the ground on this side, and then while this is still up in the air, and get underneath here again, tighten up everything one more time, and take it from there. So hopefully that addresses the issue, and there's nothing else going on. Like this bushing in here is not messed up or anything, and everything else is fine. I know I put this on correctly. I know I'm looking at this just to make sure that this is in here like it's supposed to, and this was cranked down tight. That's tight. So everything looked like it should be okay. So I'm just gonna do that, and then I'm gonna address the top part of the center link. Not center link, this sway bar link, because they're all loose at the top. And I'll tighten that up, and then like I said, I might mess around with the calipers, see if I can get the other one off. See if I can get that one off, because I tried to spin it off, but as you can see, the grooves, the actual part here is a little bit rubbed down, and I don't want to strip it any further, so I kind of left it. But I might mess around with that, or I might just deal with the other one that I have out. So yeah, Well, I found out what's wrong. Let's see if you guys can see what's wrong. Can you see it? Okay, so you're not supposed to see that strut right there, and that cap is supposed to be there. But seeing that this one was the one that had an issue at the very top with the threads, the pressure from, I guess, the spring being released and the not many threads being threaded on in that little space there, it pulled out. So the strut is actually higher, and it pushed the linkage and everything down. So that is why I'm having this issue. That is why it looks so droopy. So I was going to adjust the bottom, and I was like, why is it still not going up? And I see that. So what I'm gonna have to do now is take all of this off, take the wheel off, but there's not much to do. Take off the brake caliper is not on, so that kind of saves me. Take off all the nuts at the bottom, pull this strut assembly out, and take the spring off and readjust that. And hopefully I'm gonna try to, because you know, as I was doing it by hand, you only but so much far I can go. So I'm gonna try to see if I can get something else to kind of really get it cranked down, get a couple of more threads and keep it in place. This one, as you can see, is good. It's locked into place. Everything is good, which is why I kept it at the right height. So I did do everything initially correctly. It's just that that came off because that thing is messed up. So I'm hoping that I can fix that easily and take it from there. It sucks because now I gotta take everything apart, and yeah, let me get going. Thank God for air tools. As you can see, this is the problem. The strut is almost out completely. I'm gonna have to compress the spring, obviously, so I can get it off and readjust this cap. Like I told you before, you see the threads are very thin, and to be honest with you, I just screwed it in. I gave it a few taps of the hammer and I thought it was all good, but with the pressure of the spring expanding and all that other stuff like that, as you can clearly see, it didn't hold it down. So what I'm going to do now is drink some more water. I'm going to get the spring compressor, compress the spring back down, take off the cap and everything, and I'm going to hopefully thread this in. I think it was like those little bottom two lines, so I'm gonna try to see if I get more than just those few threads in there, seeing that the top few threads are bad, and try this again. I'm just glad that it's just this and nothing crazy, because I didn't want to have to go through something that will be so dramatic. But yeah, sometimes you just gotta hydrate, because actually I don't need to get the spring compressor at the moment. The spring is coming out anyway. I can lift this completely off. So what I'm gonna do, there's no tension on the spring. I'm just gonna take everything apart, and then after I reseat this, then I'm gonna get the spring compressor to compress it to put it back on. But I just thought of that after I drank some water. So yeah, so here's a better look at the issue. Take this off. Sorry guys. This off. So as you guys can see, this is a cartridge. This goes inside. I still got some of the fluid in there, so I think that should be good. And yeah, fluid's still in there. You know that grit and that grind is because of the fact that that thing is mad hard. It's dirt and debris got in there. Brake cleaned it out, but you know it ain't gonna be perfect, and I didn't want to spray water down there, so I just left it alone. So yeah, so if you look here, there's some threads there. Now because all that dirt and grime was coming through these little holes that I patched up with that steel putty. That joint is solid as a freaking rock. So I'm glad I used that. It was getting into that little hole right here, right? And then it was getting into the body. So with that debris scattering in here, splashing up in here, and all this with the heat, rusted it on. So when I cut with the Dremel to get this freed up from the other one, it took some of the threads. So me being kind of lazy, you know what I mean, in the sense that I did, you know, I put this on like I'm doing right now. I got it in there. I did a few turns. I was, all right, it's pretty good. I hit it a few times with a hammer, and I thought it was good to go. But as you can see, it's not. So I'm going to continue to tighten this up. It's going to take some time. I'm going to see if I get it as low as I can so I can get a nice good biting point. And after I get it to bite the way I want it to, then I'm going to reassemble this strut assembly, put it back on the car, and readjust everything, and hopefully I don't have that issue again, and then I can move on to the calipers and stuff like that. Alright, so yeah, I'm gonna put down a time lapse and take it from there.
I bring it to a next plateau, but I keep it fat though.
Go, run!
First couple of times when I did it, it was coming out. Like I'll get it tight, hand tight, hit it a few times with the screwdriver, then it will get loosened, and the same thing with the hammer. So what I decided to do is hammer it down just a little bit to make sure it catches on some of these threads, and I just kept going around little by little, hammering it, because I can't afford this to come out, man, because right now it seems solid. Even when I hit these little notches here with the hammer, it's not budging, so that's good. But I would hate to put everything back together, put this wheel back on, and this to come out, or if it to come out later on down the line, if I hit a bump or so, I would hate for that to happen. So I'm gonna hit it a few more times. My father was telling me I should try to use some of the steel that I use here, like that kind of putty. This thing is solid. When I tell you it's solid, it is solid. Like around the circumference of this little thing to kind of help rethread this. But my fear is that if I do that and it cures and it dries, then it's going to be near impossible to get this thing off. And I ain't trying to go through that. So I'm just going to hammer it a few more times. Hopefully it caught enough threads that it won't come off. And I'm going to reassemble this strut assembly and put it back on the car and take it from there. Okay, I did what I said I was going to do. I hammered it a few more times. It looks good so far. I'm praying that it doesn't come out. Please, guys, pray with me that this doesn't come out. I cannot afford to have to go through this process again. I just want it to be done and over with. Okay? So I'm going paranoid sat in. So what I did, I took some of that same steel putty thing that I bought, that I patched a hole with. Down here, I noticed that when I had it leaning on its side, some of the fluid that I put inside the body of the strut cartridge was leaking out. So I'm just putting this on top of it to help keep it really sealed. And I decided to put a little bit here to catch a few threads, and on this opposite side, the same thing to catch a few threads. It's, to me, I look at it like this. It's not on it that deeply where I cannot remove those pieces, and seeing that it's going to be in the grooves is probably just going to, in theory, have like the threads on it. I just want it to be a little bit, you know, solid and something that's on it, so if it does try to like pull itself away, it will just drag on something else that's attached to this body. So I know it's not the perfect thing, and it might not be the wisest thing, but hopefully by the time I do new struts or anything like that, I'll be buying coilovers And I won't have to worry about this part, or it's on such little threads that I can easily chip that away and take care of that. So that's the only reason why I'm doing it. So I'm not too stressed about it. I'm gonna let this sit and bake for a while in the sun, and then once it's done, I'm gonna reassemble the struts and put everything back together. So that's what I'm doing right now. Like I said, just on a few threads here attached to the body, just to give it a little drag so it won't really like pull itself out. And then plus in this area right here, there was a good piece of like this rim that was missing. So I figured that, you know what, it will cover that rim part, give it a little bit of like friction, and hopefully, like based on what I see here, how hard this is down here, like look, I'm pushing in that whole spot right here and I ain't going nowhere. That's solid. So we should be good. So I'm gonna let this cook for a little bit. It takes like 5 minutes to really start getting hard. Pause, and then an hour to settle into like the steel. So I'm just gonna let it do its thing. Okay, as we're waiting for this thing to cure to my liking a little bit more, like I said, it's kind of crude and not like the best solution, but I figure it'll give me something. I just want to address a few things. I have lovely people who help me out, and you know, my car is a beautiful car. We all love these E28s, and this one has some issues that need to be addressed. Aside from the cosmetic stuff, like this little tape job the person did prior to me, you know, the patina on the paint, the interior, I don't even have a driver's seat. The lock mechanism on the driver's door is messed up. I had the central locking system working at one point, now it's not working because it won't unlock it, so it's like kind of weird. All these little things will be addressed in the time to come. I see some beautiful E28s. I like the European style ones. I don't really care for the diving ball bumpers, but it's not ugly that I hate them. That's coming. I'm doing this project in phases, so I decided, instead of like spreading myself thin and doing all this extra stuff, let me do, you know, mechanical. So I got the engine, just like clockwork. Here comes the air. Now finally off. I dressed up the engine. The engine looks pretty nice. You know, I resealed everything. I actually painted the block. I painted some other components. But don't get me wrong, I really would like a S52 engine in here, something a little bit faster, you know, but that's down the line. I mean, I talk about that right now. Anyway, I say all that to say is that I'm not driving this car yet. I would love to drive this before the summer is out, or maybe even before winter comes, and I'm on pace of doing that. You know what I mean? I have to get some brakes, and once I resurface the brakes and refinish the brakes and get that situated, I can kind of drive the car. The car's not registered yet, obviously. There's some things I want to button up, especially interior wise and different things like that, before I take it to the DMV, get it registered, insurance, everything, get it aligned. And then in all that process, and even before, I want to get new tires. These tires, as you can see, have had it. Not only the tires, but the rims themselves. Look at this. It's dirty in here. There's dead spiders, spider webs, all that. I got to clean this out. And I said in prior videos that I want to paint the wheels. You know what I mean? So I do know, guys, to get wheels. I know. But like I said, I'm not in a rush to drive this car. And I want things relatively, not perfect, but relatively perfect, for lack of a better word. So when I do decide to drive the car, you know what I mean? I don't got to worry about nothing really mechanically with the car. I don't have to worry about me stopping when I hit the brakes. I don't have to worry about the struts, the shocks, and all that other stuff being all worn out to cause any further issues with the car. So I'm trying to address as many things as I can, you know what I mean, with time, money that I can afford to get it done. Like after I do this whole front end, I might think about getting some rear struts and the rear stuff, but after this I might just focus strictly on the brakes so I can move the car again, and then get the wheels done. You know, these are the things. So trust me, guys, I know that I gotta get tires. These tires are terrible. They're flat, you know what I mean, they're dry rotted. I know that. I said that in other videos prior, so just bear with me. There's a lot of other little things I would like to do to this car. See, rust. There's a hole in the trunk. There's like little things like that. I don't even have a driver's seat, guys. Look, let me show you something. We got to really see. Look at my driver's seat. You think I want to have a gangster lean like this? Look, the seat is broken. The rails are completely broken. So I'm thinking about see if I can get that fixed from someone, or I might have to source a seat from the forums that I can get locally and I just need one. But you know, most people want to sell it in pairs. But anyway, I don't want to prolong that whole rant or conversation. I just wanted to address that, because I know some people see the videos and they'll say like, oh man, like, you worry about this, but you should worry about your tires. Like, I get that. I haven't forgotten. But I would like to show you guys, speaking of brakes and stuff like that, I just gave this a quick coat of paint, and this looks really nice. I still have to do the other side of this, but I just wanted to give it a quick test spray just to see if I like it. I like it. It looks pretty good. I hit that one with 2 coats. There's a caliper paint, and I'm probably flip this one over, hit it again with another coat, and take it from there. I still have to get this piston out. I'm still debating if I should buy new front calipers. I really don't want to do that. I'm not poor, but you know what I'm saying, I don't really want to spend the money that if I don't have it. I want to take care of some other stuff, and I want to save the money that I do have for the car, I do put aside for the car, for things that I desperately need. Like, I feel that I can possibly rebuild these calipers, but that is a important component in the car to be able to stop. And if they're seized up and they're not going to work, I don't want to have it where I risk my life trying to be cheap. So we'll see how that goes, but I just want to show you guys that. Saw the time lapse, everything's back in. I'm like a nervous Nelly right now, man. I keep checking this right here, making sure it's not coming off. It seems to be holding well. Everything looks good. It's secured. Everything is nice and tight. I didn't want to put the tire on, do the whole brick thing, so I just jacked up the suspension to a point where I feel that it kind of bottomed out, almost where this bar was almost like level, not almost level, but still had a little bit of a cock to it. Pause. And about almost the same side, same droop as the opposite side, and then I tighten up this bottom control arm, lower control arm. So everything else is still tight. Everything else looks good. I'm going to possibly go in now and tighten these sway bar end links. I can't get the gun in there. I don't think I can fit it in here, so I can tighten them up that way. If I could get the air gun in there, I'm going to do that. And then I'm probably going to call it. I might put the wheel back on. I'm not sure yet if I want to do it with hassle, because I don't have the set screw here, and there's a lot of extra crap that I don't feel like being bothered with right now with trying to get this wheel on. The wheel is heavy and stuff like that. But let's look at the angle from here. That looks a lot better. I don't know if you guys can see it. See, it looks a lot better. This side might even look better than that side, but I don't have the wheel on this, so the wheel probably will add a little bit more flex to it. But yeah, so everything looks good. I'm pretty much done for the day. It was a productive day. I'm glad I was able to resolve that issue, and I figured out what the problem was. Like I said, I keep checking this like every so often because I'm getting nervous, but it looks like it's going to hold with the little jerry rig that I did, and also the stuff that I did prior to it, and I really made sure it's sealed. If you look down here now, that looks a lot even now, way better than how it looked before. Got a little toe in, but it's all right. I got to get it aligned anyway. And yeah, so I'm gonna pack up now. Brake calipers, like I said, they look really nice from the paint that I did already. My dad is airing out the van, talking about his plans. I'm gonna talk to him about it after I'm done this. Just about get him to do something about getting this engine up. So, sorry, sooner rather than later. Here is the brake calipers. Like I said, they look a lot better than how they did, and I like this color. The color looks really good. So I'm probably going to leave it for now. I'm not going to spray anymore because, like I said, I'm about to leave, and then I can always address this later, and I don't want to leave them out too long. But yeah, I want to thank you guys for watching. Please like, comment, share, and subscribe, and God bless.